As someone who is transgender, I have had a lot of people tell me that I should not be traveling to the American South. It's not safe, I'm told. There's a lot of assumptions that I would not be accepted in Southern conservative religious circles. And there probably is some truth to that. People down here are certainly more willing to express their dissent with gender matters. But I also don't think that that is a bad thing, because when people are willing to say what they're thinking, we're able to talk about it. And I get to have a lot of conversations when I'm down in the conservative South. Today I was at Target, which is basically mandatory shopping when you visit the United States from Canada. I was on my knees grabbing salsa when the woman beside me asked if I spoke English or Spanish. And she said this in English, so I'm not really sure how I would have told her if I didn't speak English, but that's not really the point. She then responded asking me if I knew that Jesus loved me. And that was the start of a conversation that lasted for more than 30 minutes. I told her all about my experience growing up in an evangelical Christian church. I told her that I worked in a church in my early 20s. And of course, I shared with her my complex relationship now with the faith community, being an open transgender person. See, I understood that her objective was to witness to me about Jesus, but I also used it as an opportunity to witness to her about what transgender people experience. She had a lot of questions about my lifestyle, as one might say. And she also said plenty of things to me that could have been considered offensive by some. For example, she pushed me to acknowledge that God made men and women, and while she never said what she was trying to imply by that, I got the message. She attempted to challenge my daughter as well. She put forward that he, referring to me, am her father and not her mother. At which point my daughter, always the contrarian, one-upped her by saying she's adopted. It was a well-played response, but it also highlighted pretty clearly what's important to my daughter, which is the nature of the relationship between her and I, not which vagina she emerged from. I wish I could have chickens in my front yard. Every time I come down here, what's so striking to me is that the encounters I have are nothing like what I receive in Canada. And this is because in Canada, due to our politeness, we mostly just ignore everybody else and pretend we don't see them at all. Though I'll admit that when I transitioned, I also noticed that being ignored happened a lot more. See, people don't want to risk being rude to me back at home. They just pretend they don't see me at all. You know, it's being Canadian polite. And I don't buy it. Anna, the woman I met at Target, we had a lovely chat. She challenged me on some things, and I challenged her on some things as well. We disagreed, but it was not threatening, and I felt closer to her through the conversation. I almost wanted to ask for her phone number when we were done, but that felt a little bit weird, so instead I just told her that if she ever wanted to chat again, she could Google my name. As I reflected on this experience on the drive home, I thought about just how much there is to be said about being authentic. Transition put me into this place of forced authenticity. I can't walk into a grocery store without something deeply personal being on display for everybody to see. For myself, I've embraced that, and that has been the most empowering thing I've ever experienced in my life. But for many of us, we just hide behind our inauthenticities. And that's a shame, because when we choose to be authentic, like Anna did, by sharing her faith with me, by sharing her thoughts with me, and by praying with me in the middle of a Target, that's where real community can take place. Real community, whether we agree or not.